first $1 million gate since the famous Dempsey Tunney Long Count battle in Chicago 8 years before. Everyone's stunned by the fury of Lewis's attack.
What's happening, my people? It's Cast Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. Now, as usual, before we get started, let me give a shout out to the JBT community. It's just boxing talk. We're a group of people who just love to talk boxing. And we're always looking for others to join us. And you don't have to have a podcast. The only requirement is you just have to love to talk boxing. That's all. Miss Cass, hashtag JBT. Mike Mazik. Salute to everyone and welcome to another episode of Cast Sports, The Box Storian. Today, the life and career of Don King. And you know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's The Box Storian bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing, it's the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Mike Graham in the building. What's up, Mike? Don King today. Next week is going to be the Bob Father. Love him or hate him, those two have been very significant for the past 50 or 60 years in the sport of boxing. Fought some good fights. And these promoters nowadays could take a lesson from those two. Didn't like each other that much, but when it came to get to making that money and making those big fights, they put their differences aside and made them. Yes, they did. Okay, for the highlights of boxing history today, we're gonna go back, continue out, bring back the year we're in the 1980s today. Ring Magazine fights and fighters of the year for the entire decade of the 1980s. We're going to look at why these fights made Fight of the Year and what these fighters did to deserve Fighter of the Year. So how's everybody today? It's Friday. Tonight, 9 p.m. on the Rise Podcast is the drawing to determine who the winner of the ticket to the Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach next weekend. Yeah, we will know the winner tonight. Okay? And the meet and greet is a week from today. You still got time to get your ticket to the raffle to try to win that seat. You got till 9 p.m. tonight. Okay? Thomas Hill. Hashtag JBT. In the Thomas Hill in the building. What's up, T Hill? Don King today. I highlights of boxing history. We're going to pick up with the 80s fight and fighter of the decade. Okay? But how's everybody? It's Friday. The big one is tomorrow. Beterbiev versus Bivol 2. Tomorrow. Man, I was leaning Bivol the first time. I still think he won it, but this time I'm kind of leaning toward Beterbiev because Bivol knows what cost him last time. You know, he got kind of hesitant in those championship rounds. And so this time he's going to have to sell out and let his hands go. And that might, well, in the process of selling out, that might get him knocked out. So I'm leaning Beterbiev this time, but you know, should be a great fight. It's tomorrow. Some people calling this the greatest card ever. 7, well, not 7 anymore because Shakur and what's the kid name? Austin not fighting anymore, are they? Man, that was just a total debacle, that Kid Austin situation, his father, man. That guy, like, they should just put him on Saturday morning with the rest of the cartoons, man. That guy is a straight up cartoon character. Shakur stole their passport, planted drugs in their car. Wow, Shakur did all kinds of stuff to get out of that fight. Why would Shakur go through all of that to get out of fighting Kid Austin, a guy he was going to wash, probably throw a 12-0 shutout against? So, man, that was just a crazy situation. And, you know, the father's antics look bad on the son, you know, make it hard for him to get fights, you know? So just a terrible look for the Austins. That was terrible, man. Yeah, Shakur planted drugs in the car, then the tow truck pulled up and the police came and had the handcuffs. He was in his drawers. Out there in his drawers, man. That's what the man said. And then they had the handcuffs on him, and then the tow truck driver said, well, the car is too cold. He couldn't have been driven lately. So the police took the handcuffs off. Now, the police don't usually take the handcuffs off till they get you downtown, man. I'm sorry. They got them on. They sorted out downtown. So the man was obviously lying. I don't know if they didn't want to fight. I don't know what happened. It was just a total debacle, man. Put Floyd Austin Sr. on Saturday morning with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and the rest of the cartoon characters, man. Let's talk about the highlights of boxing history. Kensaw Love 1 in the building. What's up, Kensaw Love 1? How are you today? Jarrell Hattie showed up yet? He'll be here in minutes, not minutes, seconds. But salute Kensaw, loved one. How are you? Good to see you today. Don King. But first, highlights of boxing history. We're going to talk about the Ring Magazine fights and fighters of the year. By the time we finish that, it should be 2:30. I tried to do my little intro with the countdown and gave me some kind of classical music or something. I don't know what was going on with that. Damn. Yeah, fights and fighters of the year, 1980s. There's one of the big ones. That was the fight of the year for 85 there, Hagler versus Hearns. The best 3 rounds in boxing history. We're going to get to it. D1, Angry White Men, #JBT, coming up tonight at 10 p.m. D1, salute. Along with Rim Old School Rant. They are kicking ass over there on the Angry White Men. I love that podcast, man. I got to catch the replay, though, because I'm old. I used to be asleep at 10 o'clock, but I'm in there sometimes. But salute, D1. I told you Jarrell Hattie will be here in a couple minutes. You see Kensaw, loved one, or you see Jarrell Hattie, the other one will soon be here. Salute, Jarrell Hattie. Okay, let's talk about these Ring Magazine fight and fighters of the year. Take us to 2:30. That's our little boxing history lesson for today. Let's get started with that. And yeah, Hagler and Hearns, they call it the best 3 rounds in history. Okay. The fight of the year for 1980 was Matthew Saad Muhammad versus Yaki Lopez 2. Second fight between those two gentlemen. Now, on July 13th, 1980, at the Great Gorge Playboy Club in McAfee, New Jersey, Saad Muhammad defeated Lopez by TKO in the 14th round. Now, the fight was very competitive up to the 9th round. After that, Saad Muhammad won every round, going into the 14th, which turned out to be the final round of the scheduled 15-round fight. Lopez was knocked down 4 times in the 14th round. 4 times in the 14th. After he fought a great fight, man. Then it all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. I guess his gas tank something failed. He got knocked down 4 times in the 14th round. And the referee stepped in and stopped the fight after the 4th knockdown in the 14th. And Saad Muhammad retained his WBC light heavyweight title. And besides being fight of the year, Ring Magazine also named this fight the 84th greatest title fight of all time in 1996. Yeah. And then the fighter of the year for 1980 was Thomas the Hitman Hearns. The Hitman went 6-0 in 1980, winning all 6 fights by stoppage. His second round TKO win over Pepino Cuevas in August 1980 earned the Hitman his first professional title, right? Yeah, that was his first professional title. And which was the WBA World Welterweight Championship. Let's go to 1981. Fight of the year for 1981, y'all already know. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Thomas Hearns, 1. On September 16th, 1981, at Caesar's Palace, Paradise, Nevada, Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns met in a fight billed as the Showdown. This was for undisputed at welterweight, which was, we only had the WBA and WBC then. Hearns had WBA, Leonard had WBC. This was undisputed. Now, the fight began as expected, with Leonard boxing from distance and Hearns stalking. Now, by the end of round 5, Leonard had a growing swelling under his left eye, and Hearns had built a comfortable early lead on the scorecards. Leonard then became the aggressor, and Hearns started boxing from range, had a role reversal, right? Leonard felt that swelling and started feeling a sense of urgency and attacked. Hearns started boxing from range. Now Leonard, with a left eye swollen nearly shut and needing a knockout to win, came roaring out in the 13th round and exploded with a flurry of punches, that sent Hearns through the ropes, and he dropped him again near the end of round 13. Hearns did not recover in between rounds, and after staggering Hearns in round 14, Leonard pinned him on the ropes and unleashed another vicious flurry, prompting the referee to step in and stop the contest, making Leonard the undisputed world welterweight champion. At the time of the stoppage, Hearns already had the fight won on the scorecard. All he had to do was make it to the one more round, but he couldn't do it. Now, Thomas Hill said it was a premature stoppage. He thought they should have let Hearns continue. Okay, kind of agree with you, T. Hill. But the referee didn't agree, so. Now, the fighter of the year for 1981, we had co-fighters of the year. Sugar Ray Leonard and Salvador Sanchez shared it that year. Okay, Sugar Ray Leonard and Salvador Sanchez shared the award. Hardcore boxing news in the building. JH Hardcore. H stands for Hangout. Yeah, Jay, we talking about, we're going to get into Don King about 2:30, but little boxing history segment today is the fight and fighters of the year from the 80s. Okay, now we're up to 81. Yeah, we had co-fighters of the year 81, Sugar Ray Leonard and Salvador Sanchez. Now, Leonard won all of his fights by stoppage in 1981, compiling a 3-0 record, including his thrilling behind on the scorecard 14-round TKO of Thomas Hearns in the fight of the year we just talked about. Now, Sanchez won his share of it. Salvador Sanchez went 4-0 in 1981, including stopping multiple division world champion and Hall of Famer Wilfredo Gomez in their highly anticipated showdown. Let's go to 1982. 1982 fight of the year was Bobby Chacon versus Rafael Bazooka Limon. Bazooka Limon, yeah. Now, Bobby Chacon is Skywalker Boxio from the TWT. That's his uncle, his mom's brother, yeah. Fight of the year, 1982. Now, the fourth and final battle between these two fighters was the most compelling of all four fights. Now, Bazooka Limon controlled the early rounds, scoring a knockdown in round 3. But in the middle rounds, Chacon began to get back in the fight. Chacon's body attack began to tell on Limon in the late rounds, but Limon dug deep and he dropped Chacon again in round 10. Okay, dropped him again. But Chacon spent rounds 11 through 15 on top of Limon, outmaneuvering him. Limon was game down the stretch, but Chacon's consistent body attack drained Limon's gas tank in the championship rounds. And the key moment in the fight came with 10 seconds left in the 15th and final round, when a Chacon right hand sent Limon to the canvas. Chacon became a 2-time world champion with the win. The final scores were 142-141, 141-140, and 143-141, all in favor of Chacon. Now, if Chacon doesn't get that 2-point knockdown with 10 seconds left in the fight, he would not have won it. What a fight. This fight took place on December 11th, 1982 at the Memorial Auditorium in Sacramento, California. Okay? Now, the fighter of the year for 1982, was that 82 already? Yeah. Fighter of the year for 1982 was the Eastern Assassin, Larry Holmes. Holmes went 2-0 in 1982. Now, one of those fights was a 13th round TKO win over Jerry Cooney in one of the most anticipated fights of the year, which was a candidate for fight of the year. But Bazooka Limon and Chacon beat him out. Okay? 1983. Highlights of boxing history. Fighters of the year, for the decade of the 80s. 1983, Bobby Chacon again. Bobby Chacon versus Cornelia Boza Edwards. On May 15th, 1983 at Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada. Chacon and Boza Edwards engaged in one of the best fights of the entire decade, not just the year. the entire decade of the 80s. Chacon scored effectively to the body throughout the fight, while Boza Edwards scored effectively to the head. It was a very close competitive fight and a hard fight to score. Now, Chacon dropped Boza Edwards twice in the fight, including in the final round. Chacon ended up winning a unanimous decision and was involved in his second consecutive fight of the year. And the fighter of the year for 82-83 was Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Hagler went 3-0 in 1983. He fought fellow four king Roberto Duran in his third and final fight of the year. A fight most people expected to be a highly physical brawl, but it turned out to be a technical chess match. Yep, 1984. Let's go to 84. Fight of the year for 1984 was Jose Luis Ramirez versus Edwin Rosario II. Second fight between them. This was a classic war between these two big punchers. Rosario came into the matchup on a 24-fight winning streak, sporting a knockout rate of 87%, right? And that was Rosario. Ramirez's rate hovered around 80% at the time, so the fight promised to be fan-friendly, and it did not disappoint. Ramirez stopped the champion by TKO in the fourth round of the scheduled 12-round world title fight, winning the first world title of his career, the WBC Lightweight Championship. Rosario suffered his first loss in the contest. And this fight took place on November 3rd, 1984 in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And the fighter of the year for 84 was Thomas the Hitman Hearns, winning his second award. Hearns fought 3 times in 1984. He won all 3, which included his 2-round destruction of Roberto Duran. Okay, 1985. Fighters of the year for the 80s. 1985. Y'all know what that was. Marvelous Marvin Hagler versus Thomas the Hitman Hearns. This April 15th, 1985 fight between Hagler and Hearns, known as The War, and is the greatest and best 3 rounds in boxing history. Now, they spent the first round trading brutal power shots, a round that was named Ring Magazine's Round of the Year. Now, the pace slowed in round 2, although not by much. Then the third round, Hagler had a tremendous amount of blood flowing down his face from a cut inflicted in the first round. After being examined by the ring doctor, Hagler, in fear of the fight being stopped due to the cut, attacked Hearns with violent aggression, similar to the first round. A tremendous overhand left to the head drove Hearns back to the rope and wobbled him. After a Hagler vicious left to the chin, Hearns went limp. And after getting hit by 2 consecutive uppercuts, Hearns went to the canvas. Now, Hearns made it back to his feet in time before the 10 count, but was unable to continue. The war was over and was won by Hagler. Now, on top of everything else that happened in these 3 rounds, Hearns fought with a broken hand, an injury he suffered in the very first round. Yep, and this fight was at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. And the fighter of the year, Marvin Hagler, had to be the winner of that fight, right? Marvelous Marvin Hagler won that was the second time winning the award, right? And he shared it. It was 2 fighters of the year in 1985, Marvin Hagler and Donald Curry. Now, Hagler only had 1 fight in 1985, which was The War. That was more than enough to earn him Fighter of the Year, earn him his share of the award. And Curry had 4 fights in 85 and won them all by knockout, which included wins over James Green and Mitch McCoy, 2 top names of the era at 154 and 147 respectively. Okay, let's go to 1986. Fight of the year for 1986 was Stevie Cruz and Barry McGuigan. On June 23rd, 1986, in Las Vegas, Nevada, Cruz defeated McGuigan by a 15-round unanimous decision. Now, Cruz's main attribute was durability. The fight was held outside in the afternoon in 100-degree heat. Now, the fight was close and on the cards, and the knockdowns by Cruz was the difference in the fight. Cruz ended up winning, and the fighter of the year for 86 was Iron Mike Tyson. Tyson went 13-0 in 1986 with 11 knockouts. In his final fight of the year in November 1986, he won his first title at the professional level, the WBC World Heavyweight Championship. A couple more, then we're going to get to Don King. 1987 fight of the year, Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler. The 1987 middleweight title fight between Hagler and Leonard, billed as the super fight, was a controversial split decision victory for Leonard. Now, Hagler agreed to a 20-foot ring, larger gloves, and 12 rounds instead of 15. He agreed to these conditions suggested by Leonard for an extra $1 million. And added to those mistakes, Hagler also made some tactical mistakes in the fight, including fighting the opening 2 rounds in the orthodox stance, which was something he never did before, right? And it proved to make a huge difference in the outcome of the fight. This fight took place April 6, 1987 at Caesar's Palace, Paradise, Nevada. And the fighter of the year for 87 was Evander the Real Deal Holyfield. Holyfield went 4-0 in 1987, all by stoppage, including a 4th-round TK knockout of Hall of Famer Dwight Muhammad Qualley. 1988 fight of the year was Tony Lopez versus Rocky Lockridge, 1. They had 2 fights. This was number 1. Okay? On July 23rd, 1988, at Arco Arena, Sacramento, California, home of the Kings, NBA Kings, Tony Lopez defeated Rocky Lockridge by a 12-round unanimous decision, winning the IBF World Junior Lightweight Championship. Lopez got up from an 8th-round knockdown on the way to the win. It was Lockridge's 3rd defense of the title. Unsuccessful this time. And the fighter of the year was Iron Mike Tyson, winning his 2nd award. Second time he had won the award, right? And in 88, Iron Mike successfully defended his title 4 times, right? Including a win over Larry Holmes, and his 92nd destruction of Michael Spinks was that year. And finally, final year of the decade, 1989, fighter of the year, Roberto Duran versus Iran Barkley. Okay? Roberto Duran versus Iran Barkley. Now, Barkley actually fought an uncharacteristically smart fight for him, where he usually is very aggressive, trying to land with power. He had such respect for Duran's capabilities that instead of being overly aggressive and playing into Duran's hands, where Duran could counterpunch his aggression, Barkley made his height and reach work for him very well during the fight. It was a tremendous fight that was very competitive throughout, but Duran ended up winning by a close unanimous decision. And the fight took place on February 2nd, 1989 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And the fighter of the year for 1989, the final year of the decade, was Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker. Sweet Pea went 4-0 in 1989, including winning his first professional world title, which was a unanimous decision over Greg Hargan on February 18th, 1989. Now, Sweet Pea also won the vacant WBC title that year, while avenging the only loss in his pro career up to that point, defeating Jose Luis Ramirez by a 12-round unanimous decision on August 20th. He picked up the vacant WBC vacant WBC belt. Yeah, in that fight. And his other 2 wins that year were successful title defenses against Louis Lornell, which was a 3rd round TKO, and Martin Galvan, also was a 3rd round TKO. All right, fighters of the year for the 80s. We've been working our way through. We're going to get to all the way in a while. You know, that was our little highlight of boxing history for the today, and we're going to talk about Don King today. Okay, but first, the drawing for the raffle is tonight. We'll see who win the raffle. Okay, they have an entire week to get ready, to make their preparations to get up there. Now I'm the alternate if they can't make it. I made myself the alternate. You know, I get that seat. Okay, but yeah, the event is next Friday. Okay, let's check that out.
In Brooklyn, New York, during the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach fight week, Friday, February 28th from 8 p.m. until midnight. If you're planning on being in town for the fight, pull up on us at the meet and greet. Tickets can be purchased via Cash App at JBT Network 1. That's JBT Network 1. There is an early bird special for $20 from now until February the 1st. Then it's $30. That covers entry and food. There will also be a cash bar, so make sure you get your tickets early. Only a limited number of tickets will be sold, so make sure that you are in that number. Several door prizes will be given away. For more information, call 410-322-4365. That's 410-322-4365. And have a great JBT day. Brought to you by the JBT, Curtis Sewell, Treasurer.
Okay, sorry about that. All right. So yeah, the drawing is tonight. The event is next Friday, a week from today. Okay. And now we're gonna get into Don King. Okay. But how's everybody today? This Friday afternoon, it's the weekend. Ray Patterson in the building, straight out of New Jersey. What's up, RP? How are you today? We're going to talk about Don King, life and career. Next week is the Bob Father, okay? Like I was saying at the top of the show, love him or hate him, these 2 gentlemen have been instrumental bringing us some great fights in the sport. And didn't get along well, but they put their differences aside and made the fights. These promoters nowadays could take a lesson from these 2. When it came to making them dollars, you know, Don King and Bob Father put the differences aside and made the fights. They almost threw hands one time, right? Yeah, almost came to blows one time. Okay? But the life and career of Don King. Okay, let's get into it. All right. That was those been up there during the 80s. I guess it was. I can't even remember. Okay. Now, Donald King, he was born August 20th, 1931, right? He's an American boxing promoter known for his involvement in several historic boxing matches. Okay? Don King is 93 years old. Well, 93 years young, really. And from Cleveland, Ohio, home of BVO Boxing TV. Boxing promoter, years active, 1952 to the present. That's 73 years, 1952 to the present, okay? And he's known for some big fights like the Thriller in Manila, Ali Frazier, called, some people call it the best fight of all time, and the Rumble in the Jungle, you know, where Ali shocked the world for the second time in 10 years. He shocked the world in 64 when he beat Liston. Then he shocked the world again 10 years later in 74. But he beat Big George Foreman. Don King has 3 children. Okay? Now, King's career highlights include, among multiple other enterprises, promoting the Rumble in the Jungle and the Thriller in Manila. King has promoted some of the most prominent names in boxing, including Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Big George Foreman, Larry Holmes, Tomas Adamek, the Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran, Iron Mike Tyson, Evander the Real Deal Holyfield, Chris Bird, John Ruiz, JCC, Julio Cesar Chavez, Ricardo Mayorga, Andrew Galata, B-Hop, Bernard Hopkins, Tito, Felix Trinidad, Roy Jones Jr., Azuma Nelson, Gerald McClellan, Marco Antonio Barrera, Salvador Sanchez, Wilfred Benitez, Wilfredo Gomez, and Christy Martin. All those people promoted by the Don, right? Don King. Mm-hmm. Now, some of these boxers sued Don King for allegedly defrauding them. Now, Mike Tyson was quoted as saying, Don King did more bad to black fighters than any white promoter ever in the history of boxing. That's what Iron Mike said about it. Now, King has been charged with killing 2 people in incidents 13 years apart, okay? In 1954, King shot a man in the back after spotting him trying to rob one of his gambling houses. This incident was ruled a justifiable homicide. In 1967, King was convicted of voluntary manslaughter for stomping one of his employees to death because he owed him $600. For this, he served 3 years and 11 months in prison. Yep. Let's look at Don's early life. Okay, let's look at Don's early life. Now, Don King was born in Cleveland, Ohio, as the 5th of 6 children to Clarence and Hattie King. Now, his father, Clarence, worked at the Otis Street plant owned by the Jones and Laughlin Company, and he was killed in a workplace accident on December 7th, 1941. He was killed on the day Pearl Harbor happened. Wow, his father, isn't that something? He was killed when a ladder exploded and engulfed him in molten steel. Ooh, that's a terrible way to go there. Damn. Hattie received $10,000 in 1941. That's equivalent to $207,149 now, okay, in compensation. And she relocated the family to the middle-class Mount Pleasant neighborhood. Now, his mother made a living selling peanuts and homemade pies, helped by King and his younger sister, and sold the wares of a local policy house, right, that used the guys of a concession stand to run a numbers game. Wow, okay. Act like it was a concession stand. They was really running numbers there, okay. Now, King and his older brothers all eventually became involved in the betting scheme, with King later stating, so now what we did is we capitalized off of this here, and we hustled. It was statutorily illegal, but who knew about the statutes? Yeah, there you go with them big words, right? King graduated from John Adams High School in 1951 and briefly attended Kent State University before dropping out, okay? Now, bookmaking and killings. Let's talk about the killings a little bit more for Don. Okay. Okay, on April 20th, 1966, King killed an employee, 34-year-old Sam Garrett, in an open street in front of several witnesses for owing him $600, right? King beat and kicked Garrett and held a .357 Magnum revolver to his head. Garrett never regained consciousness and died of severe head trauma on April 24th, okay? 4 days later. Now, King claimed self-defense, while the prosecution, supported by witness testimony, including that of arresting police officer Bob Tawn, argued that Garrett was attacked by King, with Garrett's last words being quoted as, "Don, I'll pay you the money." King was convicted of second-degree murder for the second killing in 1967 and sentenced to 1 to 20 years imprisonment. Now, while he served his term at the Marion Correctional Institution, he began self-education. According to his own words, he read everything in the prison library he could get his hands on. Okay? Don said, I'm trying to keep track of the chat. Okay. Don said, I learned this here in the penitentiary, in reading everything that I can find, and didn't live in the life that I lived before I got to the penitentiary. That gave me an enlightenment on life. That don't get mad, get smart. That's why I want other kids to educate themselves. Put it in their brain. You can't, once you get it in your brain, nobody can take that away from you. Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. Now, in 1972, after serving 3 years and 11 months, King was released when his attorney reduced the conviction to manslaughter. King was pardoned in 1983 by Ohio Governor Jim Rhodes with letters from Jesse Jackson, Coretta Scott King, George Voinovich, Art Modell, and Gabe Paul, among others, being written in support of King. Okay, let's look at his career now. Look at his professional career of Donald King. Okay? All right, bear with me for a moment. Okay, now we're going to look at Don King's career. Promoting fights. Now, King entered the boxing world after convincing Muhammad Ali to box in a charity exhibition for a local hospital in Cleveland, Ohio, with the help of singer Lloyd Price. Now, early on, he formed a partnership with a local promoter named Don Albaugh, who already had a stable of fighters in Cleveland and years of experience in boxing. Now, in 1974, King negotiated to promote a heavyweight championship fight between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman in Kinshasa, Zaire, popularly known as the Rumble in the Jungle. Now, the fight between Ali and Foreman was a much anticipated event. King's rivals all sought to promote the fight, but King was able to secure the then record $10 million purse through an arrangement with the government of Zaire. Okay? Yeah, Don King won I guess it wasn't called the purse bid then, but he outbidded everybody else, right? $10 million purse. through an arrangement with the government of Zaire. Now, King arranged Ali's 1975 fight against journeyman Chuck Webber. It is widely believed the fight inspired Sylvester Stallone to write the screenplay for the movie Rocky in 1976. Now, King solidified his position as one of boxing's prominent promoters later that year with the third fight between Ali and Joe Frazier in Manila, the capital of the Philippines, which King deemed the thriller in Manila. Now, aside from promoting the premier heavyweight fights of the 1970s, King was also busy expanding his boxing empire. Now, throughout the decade of the 70s, he compiled an impressive roster of fighters, many of whom would finish their careers with Hall of Fame credentials. Okay? Fighters including Larry Holmes, Wilfred Benitez, Roberto Duran, Salvador Sanchez, Wilfredo Gomez, and Alexis Arguello would all fight under the Don King Productions promotional banner in the 1970s. Yeah. All the big names fought either under Don King or Bob Arum. All of them at one time or another. All of them. Okay? Now, for the next 2 decades, King continued to be among boxing's most successful promoters. Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Julio Cesar Chavez, Aaron Pryor, Bernard Hopkins, Ricardo Lopez, Felix Trinidad, Terry Norris, Carlos Durante, Azuma Nelson, Andrew Galata, Mike McCallum, Gerald McClellan, Meldrick Taylor, Marco Antonio Barrera, Tomas Adamek, John Ruiz, and Ricardo Mayorga are some of the boxers who chose King to promote many of their biggest fights. Okay? Yeah, Don King. Like I said, Don King or Bob Arum promoted all of those names at one time or another in their careers. Yes, they did. Okay? Now, outside of boxing, King was the concert promoter for the Jacksons' 1984 Victory Tour. In 1998, King purchased a Cleveland-based weekly newspaper serving the African-American community in Ohio, the Call and Post. And as of 2011, he continued as its publisher. Yeah. King was elected to the Gaming Hall of Fame in 2008. In 2023, he was announced as the financier of the Bo May Fight Club in Major League Wrestling. As of 2024, King still promoted world champions and was in talks with Canadian boxing promoter Dan Otter to stage a WBC Cruiserweight World title fight sometime that year. That was last year. Okay, let's look at his personal life. We're going to look at some of the suitcases against him. It's a whole bunch of them. Let's look at his personal life. For Don King. Okay? We might get a lot of link time today, too. And we always have to cut it short. We might get a lot today because it's going to run short, but I'm going to put the link in. But personal life for Don King. Now, Don King's wife, Henrietta, died on December 2nd, 2010, at the age of 87. They had one biological daughter, Debbie, a son, Eric, an adopted son, Carl, 5 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. Now, King is politically active, and supported Barack Obama in the 2008 and 2012 presidential elections. Now, during the previous election, he had made media appearances promoting George W. Bush, which had included attendance at the 2004 Republican National Convention in New York City. He also has been a longtime supporter of Donald Trump, the current U.S. president. Okay? Yeah. Him and Donald Trump had a relationship up in Atlantic City way back in like the 70s. When they were having all those fights at Donald Trump's buildings up there. Don King was promoting a lot of them, yeah. I saw Donald Trump up there one time in the 80s. He came walking through there. I was in the casino and he had like a whole bunch of people behind. He always liked people to kiss his butt, and they was all running, trying to keep up with him and all that kind of nonsense. His wife was, not this wife, but one of his wives was with him. Yeah, I seen him come in. Miss Cass saw him come through there. Yep. Way back there, early 80s. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, him and Donald Trump had a long time association. Don King and Donald Trump has, yeah. Okay, on June 10th, 1987, King was made a Mason at sight by Grand Master Odas J. Kyle Jr. of the most worshipful Prince Hall, Grand Lodge of Ohio, thereby making him a Prince Hall Freemason. In the following year, he was awarded an honorary doctorate of humane letters degree from Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio, by University President Dr. Arthur E. Thomas. Yeah. Yeah, Don, we're going to talk about some of them suitcases in a minute. Yeah, it's a bunch of them. King has conducted an annual turkey giveaway each Christmas for several years, in which he distributes 2,000 free turkeys to needy South Floridians. Yeah. In September 2024, King was hospitalized for an unspecified illness that required a blood transfusion. Widespread concern for King's health was prompted by a Mike Tyson media interview where he said, "You know, Don is not doing well right now. He's probably close to 100 years old. He's not doing well." Don probably outlive you, Mike. Don, 93 years old, still going strong, man. Him and Bob Father, the exact same age. Isn't that incredible? I think Don was in August, Bob Father, December, just a few months apart. Jarrell Hattie. Well, Jarrell Hattie's been in the building. Salute, Jarrell. How are you today? Melanie Queen 27 is in the building. Salute, Melanie Queen 27. Okay, I was just jotting some names down. Okay, now let's look at some of those lawsuits we was talking about. Lawsuits and prosecutions. Jarrell Hattie with the super chat. Appreciate you, Jarrell. They're gonna make me rich. Salute Jarrell Hattie with the super chat. Appreciate you 1,000%. Appreciate you, Jarrell. You're going to look at some of Don King's lawsuits. It's incredible. I was reading through them earlier, man. It's incredible. He's been sued damn near by everybody he promoted. From all the boxers I announced he promoted, he damn near been sued by all of them. Yeah. Lawsuits and prosecutions. Now, King has been investigated for possible connections with organized crime. On May 20th, 1957, the Portrait King's house was bombed. And in October of the same year, 1957, King was shot in the head and neck with a shotgun by unidentified gunmen, reportedly due to his refusal to pay $200 in monthly protection money to crime boss Shondor Burns. In December 1957, King's house was raided by the IRS for evasion of $32,000, equivalent to $347,000 nowadays, right? Back in 57, when he owed $32,000, that's equivalent to $347,000 now, right? Now, charges of blackmail against Burns and 5 others were ultimately dropped in July 1958 when King declined to testify in court. Yeah, Don King knew he better not testify. Might not have got all those fights he promoted and stuff. He'd have testified against the mob. Now, during a 1992 Senate investigation, King invoked the Fifth Amendment when questioned about his connection to Master John Gotti. Yeah, remember that. When IBF President Robert W. Lee Sr. was indicted for racketeering in 1999, King was not indicted, nor did he testify at Lee's trial. So prosecutors reportedly called him an unindicted co-conspirator who was the principal beneficiary of Lee's machinations. And guess what? The Barfather testified against Lee. Yeah, the Barfather was involved in that too, and he testified. Yeah, Barfather admitted that he had paid Lee money for rankings and stuff to get his fighters ranked higher in the, I think it was the IBF Lee was in charge of. I just said it. Yeah. Whichever sanctioning body Lee was in charge of, the Barfather testified. Don King refused to snitch. But the Barfather, you know, he sang like a bird, right? Now, okay, let's continue. Now, King has been involved in many fraud litigation cases with boxers, right? In 1982, he was sued by Muhammad Ali for underpaying him $1.1 million for a fight with Larry Holmes. King called in an old friend of Ali, Jeremiah Shabazz, and handed him a suitcase containing $50,000 in cash and a letter ending Ali's lawsuit against King. He asked Shabazz to visit Ali, who's in the hospital due to his failing health, right? Now, 1982, right? He was in the hospital for failing health. And he tried to get Shabazz to get Ali to sign the letter and then give Ali the $50,000 if he would sign the letter. And Ali signed it. And the letter even gave King the right to promote any future Ali fights. Now, according to Shabazz, Ali was ailing by then and mumbling a lot. I guess he needed the money. And Shabazz later regretted helping King. Now, Ali's lawyer cried when he learned that Ali had ended the lawsuit without telling. Yeah, Ali took that money. He sure did. Okay, now, he had a lot of suitcases, man. Larry Holmes has alleged that over the course of his career, King cheated him out of $10 million in fight purses, including claiming 25% of his purse as a hidden manager. Holmes says he received only $150,000 of a contracted $500,000 for his fight with Ken Norton, and $50,000 of $200,000 for facing Ernie Shavers. And Holmes claimed King cut his purses for fights with Muhammad Ali, Randall Tex Cobb, and Leon Spinks, underpaying him by $2 million, $700,000, and $250,000 respectively for those 3 fights. Okay? Holmes sued King over the accounting and auditing for the Jerry Cooney fight, charging that he was underpaid by $2 to $3 million. Holmes sued King after King deducted a $300,000 finder's fee from his fight purse against Mike Tyson. Holmes settled for $150,000 and also signed a legal agreement pledging not to give any more negative information about King to reporters. Don King was a mother. Yeah, Don King was something else, man. Let's continue. Tim Witherspoon. Okay? Tim Witherspoon was threatened with being blackballed if he did not sign exclusive contracts with King and his stepson Carl. Not permitted to have his own lawyer present, he signed 4 contracts of servitude, according to Jack Newfield. One was an exclusive promotional contract with Don King. 2 were managerial contracts with Carl King, Don's adopted son. Identical, except one was for show that gave Carl King 33% of Witherspoon's purses, and the other gave King's a 50% share, more than is allowed by many boxing commissions, okay? And the 4th contract was completely blank. I guess he could fill it in whatever he wanted to when he got ready. The other examples include Witherspoon being promised $50,000 for his fight with Larry Holmes, but receiving only he was promised $150,000 for his fight with Larry Holmes, but he received only $52,000. King's son Carl took 50% of Witherspoon's purse. Illegal under Nevada rules, and the WBC sanctioning fee was also deducted from Witherspoon's purse. He was forced to train at King's own training camp in Orwell, Ohio, instead of Ali's Deer Lake camp, which Ali allowed Witherspoon to use for free, whereas King charged him to train at his camp and forced him to train there, where Ali was letting him train at his for free, right? For his fight with Greg Page, Witherspoon received a net amount of $44,000 from his guaranteed purse of $250,000. King had deducted money for training expenses, sparring partners, fight, and airplane tickets for his friends and family. Now, Ali was letting him train for free at his place. King gave Witherspoon $44,000 out of $250,000 to charge him to train at his place, right? That is crazy. Witherspoon was never paid a stipulated $100,000 for his training expenses, and instead was billed $150 a day for using King's training camp. Again, he could have trained at Ali's for free, but King forced him to train at his as part of the contract, right? The Carl King, Don's son, again, received 50% of Witherspoon's purse, despite Don King Productions falsely claiming he had only been paid 33%. HBO paid Don King $1,700,000 for Witherspoon to fight Frank Bruno. Witherspoon got a purse of $500,000, but received only $90,000 after King's deductions. Again, Don King's son Carl received $275,000 of that. In 1987, Witherspoon sued King for $25 million in damages. He eventually settled for $1 million out of court. That was nowhere near what Don King owed him. He sued for $25 million and settled for $1 million. But I guess Tim said, I got something, you know. Al Booker in the building. What's up, Al Booker? Yeah, Don King today. We just talking about some of these suitcases some of these fighters had against him, man. Incredible. Incredible. But that's not the worst of it. Remember he did the movie King? Standing in the ring calling these fighters stupid and dumb and stuff. Remember that? This is what he was talking about. Yeah. In 1996, Terry Norris sued King, alleging that King had stolen money from him and conspired with his manager to underpay him for fights. The case went to trial, but King settled out of court for $7.5 million in 2003. Now, if he settled and gave Norris $7.5 million, you can imagine what he really owed him. King also acceded to Norris's demands that the settlement be made public. Okay. Al Booker says a saint and an absolute villainous devil. That sums it all up, Al Booker. In 2005, King launched a $2.5 billion defamation suit against the Walt Disney Pictures owned ESPN, the makers of Sports Century, after a documentary alleged that King had killed not once but twice. He did kill twice. King threatened to break Larry Holmes' legs. He had a hospital invest in a film that was. Well, this is what this movie alleged. He alleged that he threatened to break Larry Holmes' legs, and they had a hospital invest in a film that was never made. He cheated Mildred Taylor out of $1 million and then threatened to have Taylor killed. Wow. So the documentary repeated many claims that were already made. King said he had now had enough, right? And King's attorney said it was slanted to show Don in the worst way. He was showing himself in the worst way. Now, it was one-sided from day one. Don is a strong man, but he has been hurt by this. And the case was dismissed on summary judgment with a finding that King could not show actual malice from the defendants, and the King has failed to prove that any of the challenged statements were false. The judgment also pointed out that the studio had tried on a number of occasions to interview King for the documentary, but he had declined. While not suggesting that King had a legal obligation to do an interview, the court sympathized with ESPN's circumstances on those grounds. Now, King appealed the decision, and 3 years later, the Second District Court of Appeals upheld the summary judgment, but disagreed with the original finding that none of the statements were false, right? In any case, Judge Dorian DeMorgian ruled, nothing in the record shows that ESPN purposely made false statements about King in order to bolster the theme of the program or to inflict harm on King. So he lost that case. Yeah, Don lost that one. Okay, we're winding down, and we're going to get some link time. But in May 2003, King was sued by Lennox Lewis, who wanted $385 million from the promoter, claiming King used threats to pull Tyson away from a rematch with Lewis. In the early 2000s, now I don't know how that one turned out, $385 million, wow. In early 2006, Chris Bird sued Don King for breach of contract, and the two eventually settled out of court under the condition that Bird would be released from his contract with King. Yeah. And let's look at some of Don's awards and honors that he received. Okay, Don King. In 1997, the International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee. 1997, Don went in. 2008, went into the Gaming Hall of Fame. Okay. 2015, had a street in Newark, New Jersey, renamed Don King Way. In 2006, Shaker Boulevard in Cleveland was renamed Don King Way. And there you have it, the life and career of Don King. Yeah, quite a character. Don King. Remember, the drawing for the ticket is tonight. Still got time.
Again, another meet and greet, this time in Brooklyn, New York, during the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach Fight Week, Friday, February 28th from 8 p.m. until midnight. If you're planning on being in town for the fight, pull up on us at the meet and greet. Tickets can be purchased via Cash App at JBT Network 1. That's JBT Network 1. There is an early bird special for $20 from now until February the 1st. Then it's $30. That covers entry and food. There will also be a cash bar, so make sure you get your tickets early. Only a limited number of tickets will be sold, so make sure that you are in that number. Several door prizes will be given away. For more information, call 410-322-4365. That's 410-322-4365. And have a great JBT Day. Brought to you by the JBT, Curtis Sewell, Treasurer.
All right, thank you, Big Dre. Okay, now, let's get this 45 minutes of link time in. Okay, we're always cutting it short. We're going to get a long link today. All right. So, here we go. But yeah, the drawing is tonight on the Rise Podcast, 9 p.m. So you still got like about 6 hours to get you a ticket. $10 for one ticket. The block special, 3 for $25. Or you still can buy your ticket to the event till next Friday and automatically entered into the drawing. Okay? So yeah. We will know tonight who's gonna be sitting in that seat. Gonna get that J Hardcore's promise to buy him a drink. Now I might be sitting in it because I've made myself the alternate if the person that win can't come. Then I'm the alternate for that seat. And I want my drink, J Hardcore. Okay? Just surprise me. If they got coolers, get the cooler. Okay? But how's everybody? It's Friday at the end of another big week of boxing history. Next week is going to be the Godfather now, remember? Yeah. Like I always say, those two guys have been very significant in the sport of boxing. What are some huge fights over the years? You know, Bob Father and Don King. Yes, they have. I did a show, 50 most significant figures in boxing history. Bob Father and Don King was both top 5. Both top 5. Mm-hmm. Okay, come on, let's chop it up, y'all, for 45 minutes on the dot, 3:15. If not, I'm gonna find something to talk about. Your Don King ran a little short. Yeah. And Monday we're gonna talk about some movie boxes. Not Rocky. I went in on Rocky yesterday, remember? On the Pennsylvania profile, they got to talking about Rocky. Yeah, I went in on it. And yeah. Then we got the junior flyweight division. Oregon is boxing in the States, and the Bob Father next Friday. Yeah. Bob Aaron. Stay with me for 1 minute. I'm pulling something up for us. I forgot where we were at in the best boxers from each state series that we were doing. Okay, if nobody don't hit that link, I'm never gonna drop it again. Never, ever, ever in life. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, I got the wrong thing there. But yeah, the big one is tomorrow too. I forgot him. Yeah. Beterbiev and Bivol. The weigh-in is today, right? I'm kind of leaning toward Beterbiev this time. You know, because Bivol knows he knows what cost him last time. He got hesitant at the end, and the judges. What's up, y'all? Gave it to
What's going on with you?
Beterbiev. No, not too much. Who you got in the big fight tomorrow? Bivol or Beterbiev?
I don't know. That's gonna be a good one. I think it's
Yeah.
a 50-50, maybe, but I give it to Beterbiev. Just like Beterbiev, probably the best in that weight class.
Yeah, I'm leaning that way too. Yeah, I'm leaning that way. I know who you got in the next week, Tank and Roach. Knockout, right?
I don't know what's gonna happen. Probably. I don't think Roach gonna stay awake.
Nah, he ain't gonna be able to hang with Tank for no 12 rounds. No way. I look back at his fight with Hector. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he. I think he is probably, like I heard somebody say, that's Tank probably most skilled opponent. I agree with that, but like he got it. Like he got the knowledge and he got experience, but he don't always use the intelligence.
Okay. Yeah.
Like sometimes he get complacent in fights, and then I know Tank's gonna take advantage of that.
Oh, for sure. I heard they sparred together before. I heard they sparred before, him and Tank.
More than likely, if probably just growing up, they probably sparred a lot.
Yeah. But closest they is, growing up in DC and Baltimore, yeah. Probably a whole lot.
They probably fought a lot.
Yeah.
At the Sugar Ray Leonard gym, probably in DC, or other places.
Yeah, that's right. Because they right there together.
That's why I think the story should be more like promoted, the background. That'll make the fight even bigger because they grew up together.
Yeah. They didn't use that a lot, did they? When
they used it, but not. I think they could have did better with it.
Better. Yeah, they could have did more with it. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. They could have.
Because they probably was like top fighters at their weight coming up, growing up.
Had to be. Yeah. Roach is undefeated. He hasn't lost yet, have he? Is he undefeated? I think he is.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
But this gonna be his like Tank's seen this before. Roach ain't never seen Tank at this level.
No.
I was watching Roach with Jamel Herring.
Yeah.
That was a good one, but and I seen how Shakur did, but I think Tank destroyed Jamel Herring. And as much respect to him though, I respect Jamel though, just saying. I think Tank destroyed him. And that was a tough fight for Roach.
Yeah, I didn't ever see that one. I didn't know they had fought.
At the Tank beat Roach, I'd like to see Lamont Roach versus Shakur though.
Yeah, that would be good.
Herring, that'd be a good fight.
Now Lamont still got his title at 130, right? He didn't vacate it.
I think so.
Okay.
He said he want to go back down there and handle some business. I want to see him fight O'Shaquie. I think he could be, if he could be healthy after fighting Tank, with injuries and all of that, and when you get knocked out, it causes
I know
it might affect him. But if it don't, then he'll probably be the best at 130.
Yeah, because Hector at the Tank knock Hector haven't been the same since.
Yeah. I feel like
Yeah.
Frank Martin ain't been the same.
Nope.
A lot.
Have he
feel like
fought
he-
since then? Have Frank fought since then? I can't remember. Don't remember seeing him in there.
Nah,
That's
I
been
ain't seen
over a
him fight.
year, damn near. He
I
haven't
don't know
had.
about Santa Cruz retired after that. Didn't
Oh man, yeah. Little bit unheard of since Tank. That was a bad knockout. Yeah, Tank got him with that uppercut. He was sleeping, smiling.
I know he wanna get back in there though, but he probably not good because he be all his fights be like wars.
I know. Yeah. And he tried to get up in there and exchange with Tank like that, man. And man, that was a mistake. And Tank, that uppercut, Tank just kept working on that uppercut and he finally got it. And
Ryan probably was physically, he was in shape after Tank, but mentally he was out after he fought. Like, cause when he fought Tank, he was in the best shape he ever been. He came in there ready.
He looked
but
good.
Afterwards, then he went through like depression and stuff.
I know. He about due to come back now, ain't he? I think it's April. For Ryan.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah. See how he make it back. I think him and Devin, I see the same thing happening. It wasn't really the PEDs that didn't have no big bearing on that fight, you know, the result of it. I think he could have did the same thing without the PEDs, man, in the Devin fight. He just had his number. They fought like 6 times.
Was that his very next fight? Like after Tank, he fought Devin?
Yeah, I believe it was. I don't remember him fighting anybody else in between. He took it was like a good amount of time in between it, but I don't remember him fighting anybody else between them. Yeah. And he just dogged him, man. But he knocked him down like 3 times. Got him in the first round, didn't he?
Yeah, it was something like that.
With the left hook.
But he ain't look as explosive as he did when he was fighting Tank, though.
No. Everybody, you know.
And then Devin kind of pissed me off because he don't usually fight that reckless. He usually very smart in the ring, but he didn't do that with Ryan.
Nope. But you know, against Tank, everybody gonna have their best performance. You know, like you playing the best football, like you playing back in the day playing the Patriots. Every team gonna have their best game. Like playing Chicago in basketball, every team gonna have their best game against them. So every boxer gonna be up for their best fight when they go up against Tank. You know, he always got to face his fights.
I don't think that's gonna work out for Lamont though, cause he gonna wear him out, cause that's gonna have to be the best he ever performed. That's tiring trying to do that for 12 rounds.
Mentally draining, man. Yeah.
Tank not like a fighter where he just gonna stand there and let you exchange with him. But if he do, then that's not gonna be good for you. Just cause of his explosiveness or whatever. So like that ain't
limit your mistakes against Tank. You know, like you said, that's a good point. That's draining, man. You know?
Yeah. I ain't really know. I don't see no way beating him like that, especially at his weight. Like people be like, "Oh, why you don't fight nobody or this and that?" But like, I think only challenge he'll really get like that people want to see is in like a higher weight class, like somebody at a higher weight.
That's
and
all.
It's mainly just because of the size difference. That's it.
Yeah. Roach is actually bigger, ain't he? Than Tank. He coming up from
probably taller for sure.
Yeah, definitely taller.
But like the size, they gonna be weighing the same though. Like the height stuff don't be matter.
Not the Tank. He always got to come over, got to deal with the size disadvantage. But he got that equalizer.
With size, it's more about like what they punch resistance is. If they bigger than them, do they got good punch resistance, and then
Exactly.
How much power do they got carrying that heavier weight? Do that come with more power for Tank to be able to deal with?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I was saying.
So what?
Go ahead, Jabril.
Say that
What were you
again.
saying? No, I was
No,
just
go ahead.
saying, like when Devin go to 147, I think he's gonna be better because he's not cutting as much weight. Then he's gonna be more natural there, you know.
Devin very skilled. The only thing about him like is his punch resistance, and then he make mistakes that's like amateur type of mistakes on his defense.
Yeah.
And he do the same thing like at a heavier weight. If then his power is questionable at a heavier weight, especially like they might not even need to be that skilled at a heavier weight if he ain't got nothing to make them respect him.
But I like it because you know he's not gonna be forcing himself down to those lower weights. He's gonna be up there where he belong at. You know that might make a difference. Might help him out a little. I don't know. But you know, forcing down to 140 and then ballooning back up to 165. You know, what was you getting ready to say though? Seemed like you had a good thought.
What about Devin? I mean, Devin. I don't know.
It was before that.
Responsibility. Oh, I was gonna say about Don King, some stuff you was saying I never even knew. Like, I like this was a good one, good topic. Was he was alive around the same time as like Bubby Thompson?
Yeah.
Or is it Bubby Johnson?
Yeah, he was born in the 30s, like 31, something like that. He started
that
career in 1952. Yeah.
When you were saying some of the stuff he been through, it's like it sound like around that time, like, oh, that's why Don King how he is, where people describe him in that way, because he was born during that time.
Yeah.
Like
he was definitely mixed up in organized crime. It's never proven or anything, but yeah.
He probably had people making bets on the fights. That's probably why people like why Mike Tyson said what he said. That was a big statement to make. Yeah.
But see, Don made a lot of fighters a lot of money though, because you know he would like when he was promoting Mike, a fighter would get the Mike Tyson fight, but he would sign him for like 2 or 3 more fights. He wasn't just fighting Mike. You get that big money fight, but you had to give Don King like 2 more fights in that contract, you know?
Yeah, and then he probably setting you up to keep controlling you.
Yeah.
That's had them. That's why they need to make more stories. Like they make a lot of mafia stories about like Italians and stuff. They need to make more, bring awareness to like black people, like mafia movies and stuff. Cause it's a lot of stuff going on, but it's probably like too much information to even put all them stories out there like that.
Yeah.
Cause then it'll be like people. Then they'd be like, "Oh, that's who they talking about," stuff like that.
Right.
That was an interesting one, Don King though.
When he was young, his family had a number running business. They had like a front, like they was, I think, they were selling cakes or something, but it was really a number running business. You know, Don was real young then.
Yeah, it seemed like that's a big history in black people.
The numbers,
running numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah. The street numbers. I remember when I was young, my mother used to play the street numbers.
See, they don't talk about the full black history.
He give them your numbers, he write them down, give them the money. Yeah. It wasn't like it was
like they talk. It's still Black History Month, man. It's still Black History Month.
Yeah.
They need to bring awareness to other parts of Black history that's not always about like. It's empowering, but like it's just more be about like, oh, you good, you great, like love yourself and stuff like that. Like that's a good thing though. But like running numbers and stuff like people don't know stuff like that. So it allowed them to keep on doing repeating the same mistakes in history instead of progressing.
Yeah. They want to always like cover things they think supposed to be positive, but yeah, stuff like that, man. That's part of Black history too, you know. Cover it all. Yeah.
I'm about to hop back in the chat though. I gotta put my phone on the charger and then.
Okay,
I hopped up here. You talk about you ain't gonna go live no more.
Oh, I was just joking, man. I'm always joking. Don't pay me no attention. I might say anything.
All right.
I appreciate you, though, Jabril. Yeah. Okay, appreciate you. Yeah, Don King. Next week is the Godfather, though. Another interesting topic because he had some skeletons in his past too. The Nation of Islam had a promotional company. I think it was called Main Belt back in the 60s. Godfather was a part of it. I think he was like a lawyer or something. That was to promote Ali's fights. Yeah, that was back in the 1960s. That was before Top. That was the precursor to Top Rank. Yeah, we're gonna talk about all that next week. Yeah. And these promoters, they part of it. Don King and Bob Arum, they've been staples of the sport of boxing. You know, they two constants since the 1970s, and both of them still around. Don King still doing a little promoting. He did Adrian Broner. Didn't he promote Adrian Broner and Blair Cobb, I believe, right? That was Don King. Did that one. And he might pop up with something. And him and Bob Arum made a lot of fights. Like I was saying during the profile, all of those fighters, big names back in the day, Leonard, Ali, Hearns, Hagler, Duran, Chavez, Sweet Pea, Oscar, Floyd, all of them at one point or another was promoted by either Don King or the Godfather at some point in their careers. Every one of them, okay? At some point, had some contact with one of those two men. All of them. Trinidad, Roy, B-Hop, Tony, all of them had some kind of contact being promoted by one of those two men at some point in their career, even if it was just one fight. All of them, you know, because you wanted to get noticed and get into big fights, you had to go through them. Don King and Bob Arum. And they put their differences aside and made the fights. I mean, it was different companies, but there wasn't no sides in no street. You know, like, he on that side, I can't fight him. Take your ass over to the other side then and fight him. It wasn't no nonsense like that sides of the street. Come on, man. Like they talk nowadays. He on that side of the street, we can't fight. No. But anybody can fight anybody back then, man. Just make the fights. They didn't make all of them, you know. But got a lot of more big fights than you do now, you know. You never get all the fights that you want. And then don't forget Tex Rickard. He was way back in the 1920s. He was the first big time promoter of note, Tex Rickard, way back in the 20s. He promoted the first $1 Million Gate. He promoted Jack Johnson, and he wouldn't promote black fighters at first because he said black fighters don't sell. And then, like I was saying yesterday, Joe Louis and Jersey Joe Walcott had a fight at the Garden, and ticket sales broke a 20-year record. So that proved the white fans would pay to see two black fighters fight, right? So that changed all that, you know. But yeah, Tex Rickard was the first big promoter of note. He was the Godfather and Don King way before the Godfather and Don King. Okay? Yeah. But don't forget tonight, 9 o'clock, the Rise Podcast. That's when the drawing is going to be to see who wins the ticket to the Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach fight. So you still got time to get in it. It's only what? Almost 4. So you got like 5 hours to get into this drawing and win your ticket to the fight. And then, if you win the ticket to the fight, you might as well spend that $30 and come to the meet and greet, right? Because you're going to be up there anyway. Come and get all that good food, meet all these meet and greet personalities, like Jay Hardcore and Let's Talk Fashion, Just Do Boxing Senior from the Rise Podcast. I don't know if Squeeze going to be there. D1 from the Angry White Men. I don't think Old School coming from Louisiana. Thomas Hill talking about coming from California. Okay. Aunt McQueen, I think. Yeah. So if you win that ticket, then just go on and send that $30 and then come to the meet and greet because you're going to be up there anyway. And you're still way ahead. You're going to be up there with the people that paid $6,000 for this seat. Don't tell them you got it for free. Make them think you paid $6,000. Tell them you big time executive. You own a trucking company or something. If I'm the alternate, if the person will come in, I get there, I'm gonna tell them I'm a former rapper. I used to play the guitar for Rick James back in the 80s or something. I'm gonna come up with something if I'm sitting up there, But yeah. But seriously, if you win the ticket, you might as well come to the meet and greet. It's only $30, right?
Is doing it again. Another meet and greet, this time in Brooklyn, New York, during the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach fight week, Friday, February 28th from 8 p.m. until midnight. If you're planning on being in town for the fight, pull up on us at the meet and greet. Tickets can be purchased via Cash App at JBT Network 1. That's JBT Network 1. There is an early bird special for $20 from now until February the 1st. Then it's $30. That covers entry and food. There will also be a cash bar, so make sure you get your tickets early. Only a limited number of tickets will be sold. So make sure that you are in that number. Several door prizes will be given away. For more information, call 410-322-4365. That's 410-322-4365. And have a great JBT day. Brought to you by the JBT, Curtis Sewell, Treasurer.
We have Old School of Rant in the building. That's Thomas Hill. I thought I saw Old School. Did you see an Old School name down there, T.Hill?
Old School definitely. You need to click the link.
What's up, Thomas?
Click that link.
You must have went out. What'd you say, T.Hill?
I said, yeah, he definitely in the building. He need to click that link while you're out. While you're out there.
Yeah. What's happening, T.Hill?
Man, just tripping off of boxing and the way things flow.
Mm-hmm.
How certain things are received and certain things are perceived, I should say, as well too.
Yeah, I hear you.
We got somebody that literally went out there and lied from the very beginning of things, been this truthful and everything, and people out here trying to make excuses and whatnot for the reason why the fight ain't going on. Then you got a person that's been honest and telling you everything from the very beginning, and he kept nothing but flack. I don't care what people feel about Shakur. Shakur did the one thing that I wish every fighter would do. If you continuously speak on my name and talk all that BS, let's fight.
Yeah.
Let's fight. Yeah. And you got this young kid out here calling them names. Man, they wasn't ready for fight, bro. Now they might possibly be sick. They possibly could be sick. I won't say that they're not. But they wasn't ready for that fight, bro.
What's that BS?
Not if they
go ahead, Tio.
Not if they gonna show up and support everybody that's out there. Because if you that sick, well, I don't know, man. I don't know how bad it is. I mean, I don't know, but it just looked like, given the stuff that had been said all the way until now, Like they never really want that fight. And matter of fact, they were saying stuff that make them want to pull out of that fight. Like you calling me a drug taker, like I'm using steroids. Now I'm calling people up on you. Go ahead, my bad. Yeah, man, it's just wild, bro.
Whitey's.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy. So I don't know what to say, bro. I know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead, Tia.
No, I just know that when somebody Canelo pulls up a fighter, you know, he's cherry picking, but if he pulls up Bud, it's daring to be great.
You ain't that something.
So you know, I just don't get it, bro. But what I would like is for more people to, when people speak on your name, because usually where I come from, you talk dirt on my name, we got to go talk about it.
That's right.
I think Shakur literally called him out in that ring to talk about it, and my man didn't want to talk no more, I guess.
Nope.
I don't know. But that's what it looked like, given the way that they framed it for these past couple of weeks leading into this fight.
So did they get a replacement for Schofield?
Yeah, he's got a replacement in the name of Patty. I forgot his first name, but I think his last name is Patty or something like that. He's a dude from over what's the name? It's gonna be a decent fight for as long as it lasts.
Yeah. Man.
I think it probably would be a more entertaining fight than it would have been with Floyd Schofield. I don't believe Floyd had anything to offer, Shakur.
No,
I was gonna stand on that.
I call it a shutout, T. I had a 12-round shutout.
Yeah, I thought so, and I thought even he beat him so bad they might even talk about stopping it, man. Like kind of like the Yoshino thing.
Yeah, you have no chance of winning, but you know, I'll keep it going. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That being the case, man, I'm sad that Dubois also got sick. Planet 619, he said a lot of people out there sick. He got people out there that say, yeah, it's a lot of people getting sick out there. So I don't know. Maybe it got something going on in the food or the drink out there, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of people getting flu-like symptoms out there. So it could be some truth to him being sick, man. I don't know.
He was already over there in Saudi Arabia?
Well, no, he had people that's over there, and they got back to him saying there's a lot of people out there getting sick.
Oh, okay.
So make of that what you will. But all I know is that the replacement for Daniel Dubois is a pretty damn good replacement, especially if he was really training and ready to get in that ring. I know he got a hell of a punch, so it could be over in one fell swoop. So we'll see how that play out. I'm still looking forward to Baturiev, Beef, going over there and handling his affairs.
No, neither one of them.
Because I want him.
You know.
You say what? Oh, I know. Long as
Paul Baturiev, one of them, please don't get sick.
Well, you know, it's still a lot of good fights on that card. It's just that unfortunately, you had somebody over there clowning around leading up into the fight, and then they pull out. That just puts like a dark cloud on it. It takes away from everything else that's going on. And
all that nonsense he was saying, that just make it, look suspicious. Like you don't want to.
It make it look suspicious.
That is unbelievable, man. You know.
Yeah. It's just like it was one lie upon one lie upon one lie upon one lie. So it looks like nothing you ever said was ever true.
Right.
And I know, and I'm gonna tell you this. I know for a fact. I know off of sheer respect of a person that was there when he sparred Abdullah Mason. He definitely didn't. When he was saying he did Mason dirty, he did one of his other brothers dirty. He sparred a couple of his other brothers too, but it wasn't him. He got up in that ring, and they told me that he got in the ring, and it was supposed to go 4, and no boy got out the ring. They said that they didn't want to go no more.
Yeah, so, I heard he sparred one of his brothers too.
And that's the one that he keep. That's why he never say Abdullah. He just say Mason. Right. Mason.
Yeah. Yep.
But yet he was telling everybody how he was I knocked him out. My son knocked him out. Your son didn't knock his ass out. He got you up in there. He was getting off on your son and you pulled him out.
Mm-hmm. You stopped it.
And that's real deal Holyfield. And I know that wasn't true. So anything else he said about whooping anybody else, I wasn't really believing.
Believe it. Once you prove that one lie, so what else is he lying about, you know?
I don't know, man.
Everything?
No, I wasn't looking forward to that fight, Jarrell.
And then, you know, the tow driver and the police and the handcuffs
that
and
stuff.
all that. Like, what the hell?
That stuff. Like
ridiculous, man.
So Jarrell, this let me say this. I'm gonna say this because I wasn't looking forward to that fight. I thought he was gonna spank him from the beginning when they said it was gonna make the fight. Remember, in his own class, he's the WBC champ. I don't think he was even top 10. I don't think he was top 10. He got that fight. He never thought that they were gonna give him that fight because he skipped over 10 other people ahead of him. Then you factor in the fact, the consideration, the fact that he's also not a mandatory. You factor in the fact that, you know, he's never really fully been 12 rounds. And Shakur is always ready for 12 rounds.
Yeah, he never.
And you factor over that Shakur will be taking a step backwards, taking a fight like him.
Yeah.
Yo, he's a champion. He's not to be fighting people that are not mandated for him to fight. So he never fully thought that they was going to give him or grant them that fight. And they just was talking that talk just to do, they do to him what everybody does to Tank. They mention his name so it can get views. And they thought that I could speak on the fact that, yo, I got the better of Shakur in sparring. Shakur already know he can't mess with my son. My son to do this and this. It was sounding good until Shakur said, let's fight.
Yep. They messed around and got the fight. Yup.
And then when they got the fight, it was a sigh of relief because, yo, people now going to talk about us. But then when it starts getting closer to the fight, look at the activity. Mm-hmm. Look at what Cash just said, the stuff that he was saying.
Yeah, man.
Like, that don't look like somebody that's looking forward to the fight.
No.
It's looking like somebody that's trying to get out of the fight.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what happened? They got out of a fight.
Yeah.
So I'm just tired of that being the narrative because all the time we say people ducking, avoiding. This literally was a duck. This literally looks to be a duck. I don't know if it was. He might be sick, but it looks like it. Given everything that transpired, it looked like a duck.
Now, see, you know what, though, T, here, all that other stuff, we didn't need to know that about the tow truck and all that. He didn't have to say that nonsense. That's what make it look like a duck when you put all that in there, you know?
Exactly. That's the biggest factor to make it look like a duck.
Why did he even talk about that?
On top of that, like you're making libelous and slanderous accusations. Those things are punishable. You can sue people over stuff like that. And on top of that, they can infract harm or injure their ability to do things or to gain money by saying stuff like that. We get jackets thrown on us as a people all the time. Why are you throwing a jacket on a person?
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, Tio. You think that will affect him from getting fights in the future? The nonsense that his father talked, all that stupid nonsense?
I think the whole play out, the only way they make this right, and I'm saying this with all due respect, is the only way that really Devin makes it right. Mm-hmm. They got to get in the ring with him. They gotta be able to get in the ring. Now, how they get to that ring? Because like I said, they didn't deserve that spot. They weren't ranked in the top 10 in the WBC. And on top of that, he ain't never fought in a championship fight, period. Mm-mm. My man done defeated championships. Well, I'll say he done had championship fights. Mm-hmm. Whereas this cat ain't even sniffed championship rounds. So
not even close.
I don't. Yeah, my bad, Cass. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying not even close. That was
not even close. So you balance this career with the other one's career. This dude is highly decorated. Now, I'm not one that place a lot of like stock on accomplishments, because I'll tell you one thing, Charlie Burley, hella great fighter. He didn't get anything to recognize how great of a fighter he was. Was it his fault? Hell no. He just didn't get the opportunity. Sometimes people don't get opportunities. People say, well, why hasn't Tank unified? He hasn't. Just think about the lower weight classes from 135 on down. Who holds majority of the championship belts? Top ranked fighters. Top ranked fighters. Top ranked owns mostly the belts all the way down there. Pop lures fighters with his exposure through television, through ESPN, and his ability to make them a champion through the belts he has and possesses. That's why he won't make a fight that he's fully aware he possibly can stand a chance of losing. Usually we making these fights that I know for a good certain that my dude usually gonna come out on top. And I'm banking on that because I know that man will sue you if you try to pursue a fight that he's already got fake brokered to try to unify. They sue people for doing that.
He make fights between two big names. He make them between two top-ranked fighters like Shakur, Austin Valdez, perfect example. You know, he makes sure they both his fighters, so if whoever win the belt still on the top-ranked banner. You know,
Cass. Not only that, think about how difficult it was for Shakur to get that fight. Why was Shakur being his best prospect or his best talent in his roster? How would he not try to make a fight for that belt? Because look, I can have this fight open for this belt, and I can have this fight open for that belt instead of having one person hold two of those belts.
I know. It's
another spot for somebody else to challenge.
Yep. He's
doing that stuff, and he knew, man, more times than not, I put this dude in the ring with Shakur. I'm not gonna have. He's not gonna beat him. Valdez, he knew Valdez was not gonna beat Shakur.
Yeah.
He knew that.
He knew that. That's why it took so long to make it. And the only reason he made it was when Bud put that racism claim on.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm not racist. See, I'm giving Shakur the opportunity.
Exactly. And why would he do that? Because he don't give a fudge about Bud, and he don't give a fudge about Shakur. But I can make more. I can make more money off more people that I can lure. So I want more talent. And look at who's mostly champions and who hold belts and who are the best fighters. Name the best fighters. The top 10 is going to be looking a certain different demographic. My bad. I said it wrong.
Demographic. You got it. You got it in there.
Yeah, demographic.
Yeah.
It's mostly people that look like us.
Right.
So I want to get more of them. I can't have them thinking that I'm trying to hold black folks back. Oscar De La Hoya looks to be guilty of this. It looks like he don't want to advance the careers of his black fighters.
Yeah, how many
so they don't get no fights.
Goldfield about the only one, ain't he? Do you have any? Who else does he have?
Yeah, and if Sofield go up in that ring and look awful, because guess what? He said he ain't ready for this fight. He said Ryan wasn't ready for the fight. He knew what the fudge was about to happen.
Yeah, they didn't want him to take it. Ryan did that on his own, remember?
But Ryan was like, bump that, I'm having this fight. I'll sue you for this fight. Yeah. Ryan was literally going to sue him if he didn't let him get through this fight.
Yeah.
So like, a lot of people hate on Ryan, but he's the only one outside of Tank that has approached multiple of the people that the people wanted to fight.
Yeah.
Everybody else is speaking on it like Floyd Schofield. And like Floyd Schofield, the rest of these people need to get that Shakur Stevenson treatment. Oh, you calling my name? T.O., you want to fight? All right, I'll fight you.
Yeah.
Devin,
Ryan,
you want to fight? All right, I'll fight you.
You know? So Ryan is developing a nice little resume.
I don't see nothing wrong with it. I don't see nothing wrong with his skills. I think his amateur career speaks to him being a good fighter.
Yeah.
It's just they thought he was a TikToker and really... Go ahead, my bad.
No, I just said just need to get his mental together a little bit more, that's all.
Yeah, well, yeah, he definitely got to deal with that. But his skill set ain't nothing to scuff at. Remember, he's a C-level fighter, and we see what a C-level fighter can do from time to time. Because from time to time in that fight, he dominated. But the other time, he didn't. He was out of shape. He wasn't trained properly for that fight. Imagine this dude trained properly for that fight. It would have been ugly. And that's what like I said, ever since that Jojo Diaz fight, it opened my eyes. I was like, yo, I don't know what people are looking at, man. I see too many things that are allowed by this fighter that shouldn't be allowed. He's too good for that
And
shit.
you know what though? He had 2 fights under Derek, right? Deontay and Devin, and he looked good in both of them.
He looked like he was getting better. See, now him going back to what's the name? I don't know. I don't know what he's gonna look like going back to him, because with all due respect, most of the fighters under that thing have been guilty of some form of enhancement, some performance enhancing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what they classified Osterine, but they didn't get him for PEDs. They got him for supplements. So I guess you can go to GNC and get that ish. But some of the stuff that they've been giving to his camp over there at Reynoso, you can't get that at GNC. That stuff is something else. It's something that really, really shouldn't be used unless it's
he could, but that Osterine was still on the banned list though, right?
I don't think it was banned. I'm not sure. What I was told is they failed to report with the supplements that they used.
Oh,
if it was truly banned, I think it would have been more than 6 months.
Oh, okay. They just didn't report it.
I think they just didn't report it, but I could be wrong, man. But I know when you get caught for stuff like that, oh, you get hit with at least a year, maybe a year and a half. Because we got people dying in the ring. You're literally putting people's lives at jeopardy by doing stuff like that. So they gotta be done.
You know?
Yeah, the Schofields, I hear you, BM. I don't especially the Pops. Especially the Pops.
But T Hill, the son's sitting there, he ain't saying nothing against it. So hey, if you ain't part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
That's the thing. The people
right
who
in there with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. You at some point you got to stand your ground. And say, hey, no, my pop's bugging. You ain't supposed to say, oh, he just trolling. You don't troll throwing flagrant accusations at somebody that can get them locked up, saying that they planted drugs in my car. Dog, if there was drugs in your car, you would have went to jail. You're not going home.
Too. He said he stole the passport. Remember?
Yeah, you remember somebody
you're accusing this man of.
You remember a certain somebody hit somebody and then fled the scene?
Yeah, yep, I remember that.
Where were they at?
He went to jail.
Exactly. So you got a bunch of drugs on you and you go home?
Right.
Come on, man. Like this stuff don't make no sense.
No.
I'm sorry. So I'm with you with his dad for sure. And you know what? His son will redeem himself if he actively say, yo, I'm going to do what I got to do in the ring to get that shot again, because I don't think he's going to get that shot without proving it. He's not going to be able to get it this time because they never thought they was going to get it. I couldn't believe they got it.
They was clout chasing. And
Shakur. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just said it backfired on him, T Hill. That's all.
I'm amped up because I can't believe like the backlash. You get hints and speculations of Tank ducking somebody, and everybody's going through waves. They making it look like, oh, this wasn't all that bad. This Mickey Fricky literally just lied upon lied upon lied upon lied, and then pulled out.
Yeah.
Like days before a fight.
I call it a duck. Straight up duck, man.
So, like I said, he may be sick ass. He may be sick. And if he's sick, I sincerely apologize to him.
But his father didn't.
And to his daddy. But
his father didn't help it. You know.
His father didn't help it by the stuff that you mentioned.
Right.
Because it don't got nothing to do with the ring. Like none of that stuff has anything to do with boxing.
Right. Exactly. You know, we didn't even need to mention none of that. That's too much information. Just say his son is sick, he pulling out of the fight. Why you got to talk about passports and the tow truck driver and the police had the handcuffs on me, took them off. Why do we need to know all that for? That's he was trying to get out of it or something. To me, you know.
You said taking passports too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plant drugs in the car.
Right. All of that.
I'm saying, like, this is some wild stuff. This is stuff you can sue over. You literally can sue them for what he was saying about him.
That's right. He can. He can prove he didn't do any of that. That's a suitcase.
So I don't know. I'm with BN definitely with the pops.
Me too.
I'm with BN definitely with the pops.
I put the son in there because he didn't dispute nothing. He's sitting back not saying nothing, man. You got to get out there in front of that and say, no, I'm not condoning what he's saying. I would straight up say that, man.
I hear you with that too.
But by being solid, you are you mixed up in the same stuff your father's saying. It's like you going along with it, you know. So yeah, I got to put the son in there too, T Hill.
Who you got before we go? Who you got before we go? I know it's almost. Yeah,
I'm leaning toward Better Be Ab this time.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got Better Be Ab by late stoppage.
Yeah, because I think we all know he got to sell out this time. He can't get hesitant in the late rounds.
I agree with what you just said.
Time, and it's going to cost him this time. It's going to get him knocked out, you know?
I agree fully with what you said.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only way he knows that he wins that fight is by actually exchanging.
Right.
And I think that in the exchange, one punch is going to do damage, and I think he's going to jump on him, and then he's going to finish the job. But it's going to be a good fight up until that point.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'll be late stoppage, championship rounds.
I got Bakole by knockout.
Oh yeah, yeah, Bakole.
I got Shakur by decision.
Monster.
I got Ajit Caballero by knockout.
Yeah, Caballero definitely going to win, man. I want him and Bakole. Caballero and Bakole.
That's who I really would like to see.
Mm-hmm. Them the two boogeymen.
Who else on that card?
I can't really think of it right now, but I could have to look at it.
All right, then. Well, on that note, man, you know we got to scurry ourselves on over to Just Do Boxing, where you can always.
T Hill.
You said what?
I say close us down so we can get on up out.
Oh yeah. We're gonna scurry ourselves on over to Just Do Boxing, where you can find that boxing talk, that pugilistic perfection, like my man Uncle Ricky Williams said, where you gonna find nothing but good boxing talk spewing out of his mouth, like the good brother Jay Hardcore said. We want to thank you for joining us right now, where you can always catch a lesson in the ring from the good brother Cash Sports, aka the Box Storian, the treasurer himself, Curtis Sewell, always giving boxing its proper perspective from a history point of things. Shout out to the chat. We had a wonderful appearing by the Melanin Queen, the moderator, BN Boxing, the boxing pharmacist, the nephew Jareel Hadi. We had the angry white man himself, William Old School Iron. We got Al Booger, the professor prototype. You know we got Mrs. Kaz, the better half. She's always by his side. Can't forget about Ray Patterson, the Jersey champ, Mike Mazik, the champ, Mike Rim, the fisherman. And I believe we had Terry Akers, Kenso Love one. And last but not least, D1, my guy. And to you that just watched and will catch on the playback, we encourage you to subscribe, hit the like button, and come on by and take a tour in the sport of boxing, where you can learn anything and everything that consists of this thing that we love. Shout out to you all. Make your ways over to Just Do Boxing and have a wonderful day. And enjoy the fights this week.
The legendary Thomas Hill.